rewatch. But I want to introduce myself. My name is Michael Perlberg. I'm the Director of Support and Implementation here at Outfield. It's a possibility that we have already worked together before. I'm not sure of who all is on the call thus far, but I've ran a bunch of trainings for various different teams on Outfield, me alongside my team. And we take the onboarding process really seriously. As we're working with clients, we want to, make sure the accounts are set up properly, that you have all the tools in place. But a big part of our onboarding experience is training and teaching people how to use Outfield, making sure that you feel comfortable with it. And that's why we're here today. We're going to be diving into the mobile-based version of the platform, predominantly what gets used by a field rep, and to help us out along the way as we learn more about Outfield, I want to introduce y'all here to a friend of mine. You may be familiar with him if you've been sleeping under a rock for the last 20 years. I will give you a little bit of background here on our friend Dwight Schrute. Dwight here sells paper, printers, and office supplies. So it might be a little bit different from what you are, your industry and what you work with. Even some of your workflows might be a little bit different here and there, but the ways that Dwight uses Outfield is going to be really universal. He is a sales rep. He's going out, he's having conversations with his customers. He's trying to, develop those relationships further. He's trying to get upsells. He's trying to open up new opportunities. He runs the whole gamut of the sales process. He might even do some field marketing, brand ambassadorship along the way. So I know we got some different types of customers that use Outfield. It's going to be really, really universal as we go through here. And we'll come back to this little player card here in a bit, but let's dive into the first screen that Dwight is introduced to when he signs into Outfield. This is his places page. It shows all of the accounts that he's going out and visiting with. This account list encompasses prospects, current customers, anybody, right, that he could go out and have a conversation with. And we have some filter tools. We have some search bars that you can leverage to filter down this list, and we'll dive into that as we go through it. But before we even get into that, I want to talk about ways where we can consume this information. Right now, we are looking at this in a list view, right? You got a search bar there towards the top. We can scroll through this list and find the accounts. It's all going to be listed in alphabetical order there. Or if we look down at the bottom of our screen here in the bottom right corner, we have this red button. It says View Map. If you're more visual, if you like to get a glimpse of what your territory looks like, we're going to tap this View Map button, and it's going to show us our market. Now, Dwight Schrute here, he's based in Houston, Texas. It was maybe a satellite office from his original office location. But when we look at this map, we see some clusters of pins. We see some pins here all scattered throughout my map. Those represent the places that were in my list view, right? If we toggle back over there to our list view, Aisha's Salon and Spa, Law Office of Catherine Martini, we'll be able to zoom in and find those here. This, I think, is Aisha's Salon and Spa right there. You'll also notice that there's this little blue beacon icon under that red pin, and that's because that's where I'm located right now. We're showing you your location. We're showing you who is nearby to you as well, right? We can tap on these other gray pins over here, Kindred at Home. We've got, I believe this is, the Law Office of Catherine Martini. These are the locations that are closest to me in physical proximity. Easy for me to see there on the map. Also, really easy for me to see here in our list view, right? We're actually prioritizing the 3 locations that you're closest to in physical proximity there at the top of this list. That's why we see Aisha's, Kindred at Home, and Law Office of Catherine Martini here, all listed there towards the top. Now, coming back over here to this map view, what we'll notice here, a few things that we can notice. One, our map pin colors, we see different colors, right? We see this red pin here, we see this gray pins. That is because there is some default color filtering going on here. That is, whenever you turn on Outfield, it's going to have this set. Now, if I want to change that, if I want to understand what it even means, we're going to tap our filter icon up there towards the top of our screen. And this is going to open up our filter menu where we see a variety of different filters. It says colorize up here towards the top. That also indicates that we're going to be changing up the colors of our pins. based on this information, right? There's a lot of different filters here, a lot of them that say by last and then some other word after it, right? So we have by last activity, last touch point, check-in, so on and so forth. Those are just different things that you can do with your places on Outfield. And when we say by last, we're referencing the date. We're referencing how long it has been since we've done that type of activity. Just to break it down, activity in general, it's going to be very generalized. It's going to be basically anything that you can do with an account. A touch point is a little bit more deliberate. It's any sort of outreach that you're making, whether that is in person, over the phone, over email, and then you break that down even further, right? Last check-in. Check-in is our word for a visit on Outfield, so don't get that confused. When we're saying last check-in, we're talking about the last time we visited that account. And when we look at our legend down below, these are our options there. We can break this down here in our legend. We can toggle these on and off so that if I wanted to see only the accounts that I've touched in the last month, we're going to leave those first two options selected, right? And it's only going to show me the accounts that I've touched in person, over the last 30 days there. That's helpful, right? It's good to know who you visited with recently. I'd argue that the opposite of this is going to be even more beneficial, right? Who have I not talked to in the last 30 days? And who do I want to prioritize a little bit higher? A lot of our customers that use Outfield today have a cadence that they like to visit their customers in. Maybe they're touching base once a month, once a quarter at a bare minimum. There's a variety of ways that you can do that. Some people visit their accounts every week if they're really, important and crucial to their business. And so having these as options to break down this page can be really helpful. For example, if I wanted to look at all the accounts that I have never visited with, kind of untapped opportunities, I'll choose that option down here towards the bottom, hit apply in the upper right corner. And now everything that I see on my map, you'll notice it got a lot smaller. They're all these white pins now. And everything that I see here in my list view is also an account that I have not, it says no check-ins, right? I've never visited any of these accounts. I might want to get out there and reprioritize them. Now, we have some additional filtering here, and this is where it's going to come down to, how your account is actually set up, because there's a variety of ways that you could set up your deal pipeline. For example, my deal pipeline, when I filter here by deal stage, it's going to have stages like prospect, lead, needs analysis, all the way until, I've closed down customers, or maybe they've canceled with me. And all of those stage names that we see here on the right side of our screen, totally customizable. We have some of our customers treat this as an order taking pipeline where, it's order submitted, it's being fulfilled, it's shipped, it was paid for, those different steps. You can have this, configured in a variety of ways, but this does allow you to filter by those deal stages in your pipeline. And then finally, you have custom fields here. Really, really unique from account to account. I mean, it's in the name, right? These are custom fields. These are fields that are unique to me. They're basically characteristics that I've applied to my account so that I can filter between them a little bit more easily. For example, customer tier. Not everybody tiers out their customers, right? But I've gone in here and I've created bronze, silver, gold, platinum, onyx level account lists here. If I only wanted to see the accounts that are, falling in that onyx level, my key accounts, I'll hit apply there in the upper right corner, and it's going to show me just those onyx level customers. There's, different ways that you can filter. You can incorporate multiple filter criteria at the same time if you want to. Unfortunately, does not happen there within your filters. It's actually going to happen under your searching. This is where what we call advanced searching. It's this little gear icon with a magnifying glass on top of it. If you tap on this, you will be able to run an advanced search and add in as many search criteria as you want. If you want to look at all bronze customers that fall within a certain postal code that you've talked with last week, you can leverage your searching, your filtering all at the same time to accommodate for that, right? So really helps narrow down the accounts that you really want to focus on. There's a lot of moving pieces. So I've seen reps handle territories as big as 1,000 locations, right? They've got to visit all of those throughout the course of the quarter or the month. It's a lot to keep up with. These tools help them reduce some of that noise there. Now let's talk about adding in new places, right? Building out our market, and the ways that we're going to do that. You have a variety of ways, right? An administrator can go in and upload a new list, a new territory for you, and that will get populated in the system. They assign you your accounts, and you'll see them here in your mobile app. let's say it's you who are doing, that prospecting, right? Dwight here, he goes out, he wants to find locations that might be selling him paper, or he might be able to sell paper to, right? So we're going to tap that plus button up towards the top, and we're going to get a few different options for growing our list. We can prospect for places, which is like doing a Google search here within Outfield. We can drop a map pin on top of a building, or we can do all of that hard work ourselves, add it in there manually. I am, in the best way possible, I'm a little lazy, right? So we're going to do this the easy way. We're going to prospect for places here, and this is going to bring up a search bar in the upper right corner, where I can type in the name of a business. I could type in the type of a business. Maybe I was prospecting into grocery stores, right? We want to get, some more foothold in the grocery store industry here within Houston. I'm going to type in grocery and just hit search here. And this is basically doing a Google search all within Outfield for me. It pulls up the most popular results that fit that criteria. Obviously, grocery is fairly broad. We can get a variety of different locations, and we get the bigger players here. You might be able to type in health food store or pharmacy or doctor's office. I mean, just depending on whatever you want to see there. And the results are going to show up down below. And you can move this map around, reprospect into different areas if you needed to. But for our purposes here today, we'll just tap on this first Kroger here, right on 14344 Memorial Drive. Taps me into that location. It already provides me with the name, the address, the phone number. I can supplement additional information, like it didn't give me the email here, but if I had the email for the account, I could throw it in there. All of our other custom fields are in here as well. And if I want to save this Kroger to my account list, I want to walk in there, have a conversation with them, I'm going to hit save in the upper right corner. Or if I'm literally about to do my first visit, I can tap this check-in button here in the upper right corner, and that will start my first visit with this account. So that's just one method that you can take to build out your account list. Also available on the web-based version for any administrators that might want to do that as well. The other options are fairly similar. It all gets to the final end result of putting in a new account, right? But for easily pulling in that address, we can drop a pin on top of a map building. If I'm in more of a rural area, and I might be looking at some farmland or something. I have no idea where I'm at, what address is closest to me. I could put this little map pin over the top of a building, or just any general area of land. It's going to pull in the closest known address here. Like this will probably pull in a location on either Riddleshire Lane or Pecan Creek Drive. Let's see. There we go. Pecan Creek Drive gives me that address. That's looked like a residential neighborhood. So, it doesn't pull in the name of the business or anything like that, but it gives you that address really, really easily. And then finally, just to cap this off, adding in locations manually, really simple and straightforward. It's going to cut to the chase, bring you to this page where you can fill it all in. There is one item here that might be useful for you. I would find this useful if I was on site already on location at a potential prospect. I want to, add them into Outfield. I come to this page, and guys, right now I'm sitting in our office location. It's 1250 Wood Branch Park Drive. If we tap this button here that says populate using current location, this is going to bring in my address for me, right? It just automatically populates it in there. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to ask where I'm at or what address to put in. It's just going to use my current location for that. So that's another option, but a few different methods that you can take to add that in there. I want to pause here just to see if there's been any questions. Looks like Sam wrote something into the chat, a question from an attendee. Chiropractor would like to be able to sort out different contacts, doctor's offices, attorneys, insurance offices. Is there a way to sort potential outreach candidates into folders? Yes, there is a way that you can sort these out. We kind of touched on this area where you'd be able to do it, but we don't necessarily put them into folders. I want to be clear there. But if I wanted to categorize my accounts, the best case scenario there, and we'll cover this on an administrative session on how to actually put this into place, but the best option for you would be custom fields, or in other words, a default field that you could create on Outfield that helps categorize your customers. And a really good example of that, if I go here into my filters and I wanted to filter by my custom fields, I might have something in here similar to this. All right, I've got store type here, which I know is not quite the same as an account, different type of contract, right? Like doctor's offices, attorneys, insurance offices there. But my customer type or my store type item in here might give me the option to differentiate between chain accounts, mom and pop, retail, and value accounts, right? So it's just a characteristic that I've applied to my customers, and I can come in here, take a look at all of my chain accounts, hit apply, and everything now that I see in my list belongs to that, kind of classification of being a chain customer. Now, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but there will be a section where we can change that value on these accounts. I'll show that here in a little bit once we dive into managing one of our customers here. But that would be the best bet there. For whoever asked that question, we'll be able to follow up with you guys after this session as well on certain things that you may want to have more lingering conversations around. But that's what I would recommend there. Now I'm going to get rid of our filtering here and just get back to our main page that we're used to. And we're going to walk through what a visit looks like on Outfield. And, for those purposes, we're going to pick on one of our locations here. We're going to go into Academy Sports and Outdoors. So I'll just tap on their name from my list here, and it's going to bring me to their profile page. And when I tap into one of my locations, one of my customers here, we're going to see some stats. Up towards the top, we have this blue, green, red, and orange section here where it shows me the number of touch points that I've made. So I have made 315 efforts of communication, if we want to talk about it, right? Touch point includes in-person visits, phone calls, emails, text messages there. And it's really just helping to quantify, the effort that you put forth there with this account. Then we've got deals, which are going to be more related to sales activities, either me pushing a new account through our pipeline and, developing them from a prospect into a closed customer, maybe new opportunities that I'm trying to sell in there. Tasks are my to-do list items. Notes are their notes. I don't know how else to say it. It's like throwing a post-it note or a sticky note onto your account. Just any general thought or idea that you want to throw in here. Now, as we look right below there, Dwight, if we're going into our story here, Dwight has all of these different things that he can do with an account. He can log that visit, put in a phone call, email, etc. here. But before he does any of that, if we really think about, what he's doing in the day, he just pulled up to this location. He's arrived on site. He's sitting in his car, right? He hasn't walked into that location yet. Before we go in and we have any sorts of conversations with our buyer, our main points of contact, we're going to read up on what we talked about last time we were here. So if we start scrolling through here, we're going to see this timeline of history, everything that we've done with the account. It's all going to be in chronological order here, so that we see just a few days ago, Dwight actually had a drop in here. We met with Stuart to review new products, took some pictures while we were here along the way. We can continue to scroll through here and just see the entire timeline, right? I was here again on December 9th, had a chat around their holiday schedules for deliveries. I ran expenses for this customer as well. October 14th, we did another drop, and where my manager has actually come in and commented on this activity and asked a quick little question in there. This is the ledger. This is the history feed, the diary, however you want to think about it. This is a reference point of what's gone on with this account to date. Obviously, before you go in and have a conversation, you want to know what you talked about last time. So you're going to go in here, you review your materials. You can dive further into these activities. If you'll notice here on the far right side of my screen, I've got these three dots where if we tap on those three dots, we can come in here and view this check-in. It gets a little bit further under those surface level details. Again, you're going to have your notes and pictures here, but we see that we filled out a form on Outfield. Now, guys, forms on Outfield, you can think of them as a variety of ways. I mean, it's a questionnaire, it's a survey, it's a quiz. At the end of the day, I like to think of this as a better way for us to be taking notes down. You'll notice that, Dwight here, his notes up at the top: met with Schrute to review new products. That is about the most surface level detail you could add in to a conversation you have with a customer. These forms allow us to cover more detail in a more efficient manner, right? I can, digest this material really, really quickly. I know, okay, this is a high revenue customer. Last month, they went through 55 reams of paper with us. When I was here last, I chatted with 3 different people. They were all really happy with our services. They're purchasing standard and recycled paper, and they did end up renewing their contract with us on a 1-year term. So I've got all the details around what my conversation looked like, and I want everybody on the call to know right now, you will not have to fill out this same form. Your forms are going to be completely different on your Outfield team. You'll probably have already noticed that if you're a current user of Outfield, that the questions should be in line with your visits. And if they aren't, I think that's a conversation that you should have with your administrator. Make sure that these forms are quick and easy for you to fill out and answer, because they are just as much a resource for you going in and reviewing your past visit history, your notes there, as they are for the company itself, right? Reviewing all the analytics around this stuff that we're helping to track. Big benefit for the rep out there, just keeping all of this stuff organized. Now, we've reviewed our information, right? We've gone through, looked at our old activities. We are ready to start our next visit. I'm going to walk into this, maybe I'm going to talk with Stuart, right? I had this conversation already with him a few days ago. I'm doing a little bit of a follow-up visit, a courtesy call. We're going to tap our check-in button here in our activity bar row. And this is going to start up our visit, right? We have a title section and we have a note section up at the top of this page. This is for you, right? The title and the notes, that's some of the first, eye candy that you see as you're scrolling through all of your activities. You're going to see the notes. You're going to see the title of that visit first and foremost. So make it descriptive. Be thorough enough here so that it's useful for you. I'm just going to simulate a follow-up visit. I'll do a follow-up with Stu, notes here, meeting again with Stuart to push new opportunities, right? I'll just throw new. I'm being pretty vague here just for the sake of time. You guys know how to take notes for your customers. You don't need me to help you out with that piece, but we've thrown some notes here. If you're on an iPhone or Android device, which I hope you are, that's where the Outfield app works the most. You will have an opportunity to speak your notes directly into Outfield. I think this is just a really cool feature. It's something that's available on your keyboard. If you look down below, you have that little microphone icon, and if you tap on this, Outfield will be able to listen to your voice and write your notes down for you. Right? It just does that alongside for you. It's not necessarily an Outfield feature, but it's definitely something that's handy for somebody who does not like to be stuck in their phone typing all the time. I got fat fingers, so I understand making a typo every once in a while. So you get your notes, you have your title section there towards the top. Of course, as we scroll down a little bit further, we see this form section. Again, this is where your forms, your surveys will be completely different from mine, right? I've got a handful of different forms that I can fill out here. Remember, this is an existing client. I'm meeting with Stuart, right? I already know who this is. So we're going to choose our existing client form out of this list. Hit select, and my questions are going to pop up here for me. And, when we think about the workflow that Dwight has, right, his business is not going to thrive because his head is stuck in Outfield using it religiously throughout his conversation with his buyer. That would be crazy. His business is going to be successful if he's able to put in FaceTime with his buyer, have a detailed conversation. So what I would say at this point, once we get into our visit, there's no shame in turning Outfield off, right? Canceling out of it, putting the phone in your pocket and going about your business, doing what you are really, really good at, selling, right? So what you may encounter as you do that, and I can simulate what this looks like. We'll just go in. I will cancel out of Outfield here. I'll just, kill it in the background. We'll come back over here. I'm going to open up Outfield again, like I, haven't been in it for a while. And when I open up Outfield, a few different things could happen, right? It could bring me right back into this visit if, Outfield's retained that memory for long enough. It's been in the background. It's going to bring you right back into your visit. You can pick things up right where you left off. Other times, it might get saved in here as a draft. Very similar to, if you're working on an email and you leave that email for whatever reason and you want to come back to it, it's going to be saved where? It's going to be saved in your drafts folder. We do something very similar on Outfield, and I can simulate what that looks like, right? So I'm in the middle of my visit. Let's play pretend like I just canceled out of Outfield and, it's been half an hour since I've been back in it. It's gone completely into its background state, and it's going to pull up the Outfield app to basically our places page, right? It's going to bring us here. And this little pop-up is going to get presented to you, right? And we're going to unsubmitted drafts alert. This is telling me that I have not submitted my activity yet that I was previously working on. It's been saved, but it's going to be accessible in a different area, right? So I could hit OK. I could view drafts. This is probably the smartest thing to tap on, and it will take you directly to the page where you can view your current visit that you're working on, or you can stop your reminders. I would not recommend doing that. I like this reminder to educate you guys further. We're going to do this the hard way, and I'm going to tap OK here. Just disregard this message. Now, we're back here to where we started, right? The places page. I don't want to be too confusing here, but if we open up our side menu, this is going to show all the different pages that we can venture into. You will notice that you have a draft section in here, and this draft section is going to house the activity that we were working on previously, right? So follow up with Stu, it's still saved in here. I can tap into it. It's going to show me the details. And then if I want to get back into this visit and actually edit some of the information, we're going to tap our three dots there in the upper right corner. We're going to tap to edit this activity, and we are right back in here where we started. Our timer continues to run there. Our form is still in here. Any answers to these questions that I have placed in here will also be saved. Now, at this point, I'm going to proceed to answer these questions. We're back in our visit. We're kind of going through our last details. Maybe I'm doing a little bit of a recap at the end of my visit. Everything's still fresh on my brain, right? Let's say, okay, this is still a high revenue customer based on these conversations. Looking like they're going to go through 40 reams of paper this month. We talked to just one person, talked to Stuart there. What is their satisfaction level? They are happy with our services. They're purchasing standard and recycled. I might be trying to get an upsell here though, right? Maybe there's some other opportunities. Maybe I want to throw those into my notes here. All sorts of things that you can do with these visits, guys. Renewing their contract. I'm going to answer this as yes, even though they renewed it last year. I'm just going to say that they're still, going out with us on a 1-year term. And again, guys, these forms, these questionnaires are going to be different from use case to use case, right? Everybody can build these in a variety of ways. My manager, Michael Scott, you may have heard of him as well. He has gone in and asked in some additional questions, some text-based responses, getting some signatures. I can go in here and create a follow-up task or a to-do list item here directly within my forms, kind of like adding something to your to-do list there. Variety of ways that you could build these out. But to finish up this visit, actually, before I finish this visit, I want to run through one other capability here for our visual captures, like photos there. Maybe you need to capture a photo of a display or a menu, maybe even in front of a building or anything like that. You can always capture photos there in the upper right corner by tapping that camera icon. This will allow you to pull photos from your gallery. You can take a photo live on site there. Here's our boring office that you get a glimpse into. I like to keep my account looking a little consistent. So we'll choose these photos here of this store, and I've added in my pictures there. If you look here in the upper right-hand corner, you have this checkout button. This allows us to finish up this visit. We tap checkout. Outfield asks us to confirm our duration, just all getting captured there in the background. But, if there's anything wrong here, go in and correct it, right? Everybody's human. Sometimes we forget to start our visits. We forget to finish them. I've seen some of our users have a 70-hour visit over the course of, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They come back to work on Monday and they've been working for a long time. Obviously not the truth. Go in and correct it, right? You have this ability. Come in here, say I was here for 20 minutes. I no longer have any drafts, right? We're going to come back out here basically to where we started, back to our places page. And guys, I'm going to tap back into Academy Sports and Outdoors here, and we're going to see that visit, right? I'm just coming back into the store location. Like I mentioned previously, these activities are listed in chronological order, right? So January 15th, I was here at this location. Fast forward a month from now, maybe I'm circling back with them in mid to late February. I don't remember all of these details, right? I just rinse and repeat that whole process, right? I can come in here, check out my previous visits there, and continue on, right? Log the next visit, or log in some additional touch points. But before, I want to give everybody an opportunity. I've been throwing information and details at you guys as we go on here, and so I know it's a lot, but please feel free to throw in some questions. I'm going to respond to one. I see one that Sam just threw into the chat. Question from one of our attendees: can you put more than one email per business? In case you're working with more than one person in the business, easy answer to that question is yes. That's going to be one of the next few things that I cover as we go through here. But continue to keep those questions rolling in. Sam can see those. I'm hoping that he's throwing in some good responses for at the end of the call. What I'd like to do for anybody that's throwing in some really good questions in there, maybe whoever does the most questions gets a free T-shirt, right? We'll be happy to send you guys out a T-shirt for asking some really good questions in there. Just something to keep it lively and engaging as we go through here. But we'll continue on with our side of things. We talked about check-ins, right? That's our in-person visits. Obviously, all of our business does not just happen in person, right? We might get a phone call. We might be on a Zoom call with somebody like how we're doing right now. Maybe I'm conversating back and forth with somebody via email. We have ways where you can document all of those. But I want to be clear that Outfield out of the box, we're not a VoIP system. We're not placing phone calls and sending and receiving emails on your behalf. It's not exactly what we do. We certainly work nicely with some of those providers, right? Been able to provide integrations here and there. But let's say you had a phone call with one of your buyers or a customer, and maybe there's a really big issue that's happening, or maybe they call you up and they say, hey, we want to purchase $20,000 worth of merchandise or product, or ink this partnership that we've been working on. That's a pretty great conversation to have, right? It's good to throw stuff like that into Outfield. You can throw in that phone call or that email here just by tapping on these buttons. The phone call option, yes, it will give you the opportunity to place a phone call, like here for Academy Sports and Outdoors. I've got the phone number listed in here, so I could place this call. I'm not going to give them a prank call right now, but could if I wanted to. And it just makes it easier to get on the phone. We are not, tracking or recording those calls. That just brings you over to your dialer so that you can get on the phone with somebody. Now, logging that call is a different story. You'll see those options here for log a call. It looks almost identical to a check-in. The only difference here is that you have this call result field, right? We can come in here and say, they answered, we left a voicemail, it was a bad phone number, whatever it might be. But apart from that, everything else is the same. You got title, notes, forms even. Some of our clients like to build out a phone call form that is short, sweet, to the point. Who'd you speak with? What was the type of call? What was the outcome? It's super easy. And it just adds some organization, it adds some stability to the way that you're capturing information there. I think there's, that's a slept on value for, your business system, your CRM, however you want to refer to it. We have a lot of info here, and being able to filter through it and analyze it because it's structured, that is really, really important. Now, apart from phone calls, emails, those other touch point type activities, you've got tasks and notes here. Tasks, I mentioned it really briefly when we were looking at that check-in form that we were doing, our existing client visit. But tasks are like your to-do list. These are things that you can add into here on Outfield so that you hopefully don't forget to do them. Like maybe I need to follow up with Stuart and send him over a proposal deck on those new opportunities we were talking about. I'm going to come in here, and Dwight is going to write in to his task, follow up with Stu, right? And I do want to mention that you can push out tasks to other people, which is great if you work cross-functionally with other team members. Maybe Dwight Schrute isn't the person that does this follow-up. Maybe it is going to be Phyllis, right? And so we can come in here and add Phyllis to this task and throw her on there. She'll get an email prompting her to get in there and take care of it. But we're just going to keep this for me. Contact is pre-selected. Our due date, maybe this doesn't need to happen today. It's not mission critical, but it needs to happen no later than Friday. To send that follow-up over to Stu, right? I can throw in some reminders here. Maybe I want to get reminded a full day beforehand. I want to come in here and we will say, send me a push notification one day before. You can have as many of these reminders. They can be in the form of an email too, if you're more email oriented. Maybe I want to get something an hour before this is due. You can be flexible with how you lay these out, but throw in as many as you want, right? There's no shame in having a bunch of reminders for something that's really, really important. You can throw in some additional notes here as well. You know, maybe I need to CC, I don't know, I'll CC Austin here from AP department, right? We'll throw save in there in the upper right corner to actually add this to our task list. We're not going to see anything change when we do that, but I want y'all to know that a task has been created for Academy Sports Indoors. It's been created for me as well. And there is another section where Dwight can go in and he can work through all of his tasks here as we go through it. But I want y'all to know that that is in a dedicated area. We're going to come back to it here in a little bit. Finally, you have this notes option. I think the best, comparison here is like a post-it note or it's like a sticky note. You're not directly dealing with that account. You're not on site, or on the phone with them. But something pops into your brain. Maybe you're, at home, maybe you're at the office, maybe you're, at your kid's soccer game. Something pops into your brain. You don't want to forget it. You can easily come in here and just throw it in as a quick little note. It will exist in the timeline, the history feed here. But that's a lot of what you can do with an account. Of course, there's more that kind of gets into some more of the sophisticated workflows, which we're going to dive into here as we go through. But that's all stemming here on our activity page. And if you look all the way down at the bottom of our screen, you have these tabs that we're currently selected under activity on. This is everything related to this particular customer, Academy Sports and Outdoors activities. Now, if I want to look at the calendar for this account, see what I have coming up in the future, I can tap on that calendar option. For me, I don't have anything scheduled and upcoming. If I wanted to change that, though, I'll tap this plus button here in the upper right corner, and we will proceed to create an event. Now, our place of contact is pre-selected for us. A starting time and ending time, of course, we can come in here and adjust that. Maybe we're coming into this account next week. We're going to visit with them on Friday, the 24th, from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Throw in, any relevant notes. Don't forget to bring snacks, right? Maybe we're doing a little lunch meeting. I need to bring over some snacks. We'll hit save in the upper right corner there, and this visit gets planned onto my calendar. We see it show up here under the Academy Sports and Outdoors page. It's also going to go to my main outfield calendar, very similar to our main outfield tasks list, kind of aggregates everything across all of your accounts, but you're able to view it on the individual account level. Back out here to that activity page that we were looking at briefly earlier. We have this deal section, right? I mentioned it briefly. This helps you understand where the account sits within the business development process, and what you're working on with that account. Everybody is going to have a different business development process, or they might use the deal section in a different way. If we look, revert your eyes down to the bottom of our screen where we have this deal section, it's got a little money symbol on it. If we tap into this, this is going to show me my process. And it's going to show me all the different stages up towards the top that I can slide back and forth between. We got prospect, lead, needs analysis, submitting a proposal. I'm past all of this with Academy Sports and Outdoors, right? I've been doing some current business, but maybe I'm trying to get something new sold in, right? So we got this deal accepted stage here where I am trying to do an upsell opportunity. I might be giving them a 15% discount on this bulk order. Maybe it's a new product line. I mean, I could add in all of those details into my notes there, but it currently sits here in my deal accepted stage. And I would think of this, if this is like a football field, we're on the goal line, right? We're about to score. They've accepted. They must have accepted verbally to this deal to move forward and make a purchase with us. But I need to move it to the finish line, right? I need to actually get that money, get my commission check. That might be something that's a motivator for me as a salesperson. And so I'm doing all of these things. I'm understanding the history. I'm logging my existing conversations. All of that hopefully helps me stay organized so that I can put myself in the best position to succeed. Now, we see a few things here. It's been in this stage for about 153 days. So I've been working on this deal for a while. They've agreed to it in promise, but we have not actually gotten that money yet. Once I actually get that invoice paid, I can move this through my stages. Some of our customers, granted, they might have this automated between Outfield and their ERP system. If you are interested in doing stuff like that, please talk to your account manager. They can, get the ball rolling on some of that automation. But to make manual adjustments, we're just going to tap our three dots over here on the right side of our screen. We can come in here, we can edit this deal if I need to make adjustments to it, or if it's simply just a changing of our stage, we'll tap change stage. Here it's listed right down towards the bottom. I can tap change stage. It's going to bring up a list of my deal stages, and we can move this over into our deal closed category. And so now I can view, along with all the other history of this account, everything that we've closed with this account, right? I can see our month to date revenue that we pulled in. Our average order size here is right at, just under $2,000. So this upsell was pretty significant in the grand scheme of things. Just getting a better concept there. And if I want to add something new into my pipeline, like maybe I am submitting a new proposal for a new product line that we're launching, I'm going to go to the business proposal submitted category here, tap our plus button there in the upper right corner, and name things out accordingly. I can put it in the amount that I think it's worth. Throw in our notes here. Looks like we actually default the stage to the first stage of your pipeline. So you want to make sure that you go in and you adjust that. Let's say this is going to go into that business proposal submitted category here. I can add in all sorts of details through the notes. You'll notice that there's this button towards the bottom that says add order. I'm not going to be diving into that here today. That is an add-on to Outfield. I would imagine here within the next few weeks, we will have some sessions that speak directly on, order management, placing orders on Outfield, some of the benefits and values you'll get from there. But for the sake of time, I want to focus on core Outfield things, things that almost everybody has within their Outfield account. Now, the deal pipeline helps us stay organized, but not everybody's going to use it, and it's okay if you don't use it. Obviously, there's some benefits, and we'd love to talk to you about the benefits of using that, just because I definitely think it could be helpful to have your business organized by the stage that they're at with you. But there was a question a little bit earlier around editing account information. We'll come back over here to Academy Sports and Outdoors, let that load up here. You'll notice in the bottom right corner, we have this info section here. This info section is going to house our information for the account. It's going to have the account vital shown first. We put it in our general section. So you got the name, the address, phone number, email here. I believe the exact question was adding in multiple email addresses. You might want to do that under the account if those email addresses are actually associated with the account, or you might want to incorporate that into your linked contacts. Before we get into linked contacts, we'll dive into our custom section here. This is just showing those fields that are more unique to me as a company, right? I put my customers into platinum level, bronze, silver, gold, etc. Best day to visit this account is on a Tuesday. The account owner is Mike, and just extra information. Then we have our linked contacts. These are special records within Outfield, very similar to a place actually, but it's a person, right? So we have Robert California here listed as a linked contact. I can tap on Robert California's name here, and it's going to bring me to his profile page because they are linked. Right? They are associated with one another. In fact, when I look at Robert California's activities, what you will notice is that these activities are the same ones that are living under Academy Sports and Outdoors. We will share those activity lists across linked records there. So because Robert California is a linked place under Academy Sports and Outdoors, they have that relationship there. We're going to showcase their information kind of combined there. It's a way to prevent that from happening if you need it, right? If we go back over here to Robert California, if I want to see just notes that I put under Robert specifically, I'm going to filter these out and hide our link contact activity there, right? So just a way that you can navigate across Outfield a little bit more easier. But if you ever needed to add in a new contact here, you can do that by tapping the three dots there in the upper right corner. It's going to give you an option to add linked contacts. You can also edit the account details there if you needed to. But when we come in here, it's going to bring up a list of your existing contacts. You can create a new one from scratch up here towards the top. Put in the name, the address, throw in a profile picture there for him if you want to. That's how you could easily add in those new linked contacts. So I hope that helps answer that question there from our attendee. If there's been any additional questions that make sense to throw them into the chat, Sam, please do that. But we will proceed onwards. We got about 13 more minutes. We're just going to wrap up on a few key details here. we come back out here to our places page, this is where we started things. And you may have noticed if we tap on that red bar down here in the bottom right corner again, we've got this map. We're looking at our roadways here. We've got some colorful lines scattered across the way. Typically, I might throw a quiz question at you guys, but because we're all muted, might be a little tough to do that. I'll ask you, what these red, orange, green, and lines mean on our roadways here, as it indicates our traffic conditions. These are being brought over from Google Maps. It tells us what the condition of the roadways might be, whether roads are closed, backed up. Just gives us some context into what we're about to head into. Now, we take that data and we work on it a little bit more with our route builder. That's this blue button down here in the bottom left corner. This is going to help us put our itinerary together today. When you start off each day, it's going to look like this. You don't have anything built out. We are going to plan something out by tapping our plus button here in the upper right corner. And we're basically going to pick and choose all the accounts that I want to visit today and figure out the best ways to go to them. Now, first things first, we have a starting point and an ending point, right? You got to start your day somewhere. You got to end your day somewhere. We're going to default that to your current location, but I'm going to come in here and change this up. We're going to finish my day at a work happy hour, one of my favorite restaurants here in Houston, Squabble, in the Heights here. It's going to put in that address for me. Basically did a Google search there. And I've got my start point. I've got my end point set. Now I need to fill in the in-betweens. Few different methods that we can take to do that. First method, down in the bottom left corner, you have this add stop button here. You can tap on this and it's going to bring up a list of your accounts and you can scroll through them. You can search for them here. I'm just going to tap on a few. We'll choose the burger joint. We will choose elevated wellness here out of our list. Hit done in the upper right corner and it adds both of those accounts into my list of places to visit. Right. That's one method. It's obviously very manual, but it's effective. If you know who you're visiting with, that's a really easy way to do that. Next, you have your calendar as an option. That's this purple button we see down here in the bottom right corner. If you tap on this, it's going to bring up your calendar. It's going to show you what you have scheduled for today. Today, I don't have anything scheduled, but on the 24th, I do. Right, I have another visit planned out there with Academy Sports and Outdoors. If I want to add this to my route, or the current day's visits to my route, just going to tap that option there in the upper right corner to add it to my route. I'm not actually going to do this because we've already visited with them today. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I'm going to exclude them, but that is a very great way to leverage both using the calendar and the route planner as a way to make your day a little bit more efficient. Now the final method, all the way up at the top of our page, we have a toggle between our list view and our map view here. This is going to show us all of our accounts. Once again, on a map, shows us some traffic conditions. But what I notice here is that I've got blue pins and I've got red pins. I don't have very many blue pins. And that's because these are the locations that I've already included in my route. This is the burger joint up here towards the top. This is elevated wellness down here towards the bottom middle part of the screen. And what I see, just from at first glance, is I see those two blue pins, and then I see all of these red pins in between it. Maybe I want to go out and visit. I'm going to be in that area. Let's go out and visit all those other customers in that area. So I could tap on them individually, or if you look in the upper right corner, you've got this little button here. This button is, I know it looks like a comic book speech bubble. It is actually a lasso. When we tap on this, it will now allow us to draw a circle around the accounts that we want to go out and visit with, and it will automatically select them all. So it's great if you're going to be spending time in an area. You might not necessarily know everybody in that area that you need to go out and visit with. Kind of grabs everything in a general zone. We toggle back over our list view. We've got 9 visits planned here throughout the day. Let's hit the road. Why don't we? Let's we have an option here down towards the bottom. We have this route button here. It's going to tell me some great details, right? It's going to tell me how many miles I plan on driving. It's going to tell me how much time I expect to be on the roadways as well. But it's not the best use of my time. The best use of my time would be shuffling that day up, taking into account traffic conditions, travel time, mileage in between my accounts from A to B to C and so on and so forth down the list. That would be more efficient with my time, right? And luckily, we have a tool that does that. It's this button here at the bottom. It's got a little magic wand on it. When we tap on it, and it says optimize underneath it, by the way, it's going to shuffle my day around, taking all of those factors that I mentioned into account, and produce a much more efficient route that is better on my mileage. It's better on my time spent on the roadways. I'm going to be less likely to be stuck in bumper to bumper traffic with this route because we're leveraging all of this data to put together that route. Now, we see here, we're going to start over here. This is my current location, right? So that's our starting point. Then we're going to come all the way down here to the kind of the southernmost point of my route, work all the way up towards the top until we finish here at our last location, that squabble joint over there. And so by doing all of this, by optimizing our route, we ended up cutting 26 minutes off of our travel time. Now, obviously, that's based on the route that I had in there initially. You're not always going to save 26 minutes, but you could save 5 minutes. You could save 10 minutes. You could save, I've seen some people in, larger markets visiting a lot of accounts, you can save an hour by doing this. And all of that time, no matter how small it is, it's going to compound on itself. It's going to give you time back into your schedule. And I think it'll be, a tool that you could be more efficient and effective in, right? You might be able to visit more accounts throughout the day with these time savings. And so obviously it's one of those benefits that you only get if you actually use it, right? So I encourage everybody to optimize their routes if it makes sense given their workflow. If you're ready to get driving directions to your first location, like, hey, we're going to go to Elevated Wellness CBD here. First in my day, we're going to tap go over on the right, and Apple Maps, Google Maps, Waze, those guys will give you your driving directions there. But a great resource to have in your back pocket, just some tool that tells you where to go to first, which to go to next. Guys, we've taken a look at, I think what you'll spend a majority of your time on Outfield doing, which is managing your accounts, working closely with them, going from point A to point B to point C. But you're in between time, you might find value in knowing what all these other pages on Outfield actually do, right? And so we're going to run through them, some of them in brief, just for the sake of time. But if we look down here towards the bottom, we have our task section, we have our calendar section. Both of these help out with productivity, right? We can tap into our task section here, look at those to-do list items that we set up earlier, like my follow-up with Stu. If I'm ready to complete this, I'm just gonna tap on that little circle and it's gonna disappear. You got a little satisfying feeling there, marking something off of your to-do list. But we categorize these here around tasks for this week, things coming up in the future, items that are overdue. You can create new tasks here in the upper right corner with that plus button. Similarly, with our calendar, we're going to aggregate everything here. So all of your accounts and what you've done with them, whether it's a deal, whether it's a visit that we've done, it's all going to get saved here in the calendar. Another way to reference what you've done in the past, I can tap on this note that I left on December 4th with Aisha Salon and Spa there, right, and see all of the details. Looks like I just did a test note or wrote hello in there. But you get the idea. It's just another way where you can reference things. Of course, you can plan things ahead of time here with that plus button there in the upper right corner, and schedule out a new event. We have a chat platform that we have built directly into Outfield. This allows you to communicate with other team members. We understand everybody uses something different for chat, whether it's Teams, Slack, maybe you use the Outfield chat tool. That would be great. But you can have channels built out for all sorts of different conversations, private messages that you send to one another, send memes, or maybe serious work stuff. I don't know. But that's how we like to use it. We have a random channel even that we'll throw funny jokes in from time to time. We actually use Outfield for our own system, so we're on the chat all the time. We're always talking to one another. Guys, we have a team activity page here. This is your social media feed for Outfield. I think it's a great resource to have for anybody that wants to learn more around being successful in their job duties. You learn from others for sure. If you're somebody new on the team, you can come here to the team activity feed and see what other reps have done to be successful, right? You can ask questions. You can get in here and comment on activities, or, you see one of your colleagues going above and beyond for their buyer, going out of their way to help another team member, hit that like button, let them know that they're doing some good work. It feels good to have your hard work seen and appreciated, not only by, your managers, but your colleagues too, right? Build each other up. I know it sounds a little, corny maybe to have something like this in your business tool, maybe a little vain to have your hard work put on display and be proud of it. But I think that we should do that, right? If you're doing something that's really great or admirable, get the recognition that you deserve, right? And if anybody comments or asks questions on your activities, you will see that by tapping that little bell icon there up towards the top. All of the comments, we can see Michael Scott asking me questions here. I neglectfully have not responded back to him, but it kind of bridges the gap between somebody in office, somebody out in the field, being able to respond to potential issues a little bit faster. Team activity will be great for that. We have an analytics section that is, again, it's an add-on to Outfield, so I'm not going to cover it in depth here on today's session, but we will certainly cover it in a future session, whether that be a demo or a training that we cover over the topic. The last little bit here I want to discuss, guys, is league play and a game that we have built into Outfield to make it fun and unique, right? I mean, you might have seen that player card at the very beginning of our session, kind of going through, showed briefly Dwight Schrute's stats and what he's done with his customers there. If we tap into this first matchup, you will see Dwight and his colleague Jim Halpert going head to head in a matchup this week. So on Outfield, everything that you do, whether that's a visit, putting in a phone call, adding a note in or a customer, that generates you points. And your manager, you can go in and change up the point values, reward your team appropriately for the things that they need to be doing. But here for Dwight and Jim, Dwight's got 26 points this week. He's beating Jim Halpert. Jim must be a little hungover from the weekend still. He hasn't done a whole lot on Outfield, but it speaks to Dwight's performance and the hustle that he's putting in, the diligence that he's carrying with the activities that he's doing. And if we tap into our player card, each week, you get a new matchup there, but your player card categorizes your stats here. You've got hustle, diligence, preparation, and leadership. You get more hustle points by doing more stuff, right? You go out, you visit more customers, you log 100 visits in a week. That's some great stuff to be doing, right? You get rewarded there. Diligence is the other half of that coin, where, hey, you do 100 visits, but you don't say who you talked with, you didn't fill out a form, you didn't jot down some important details, you're not being super thorough there, right? So you get less points in that category. It's a whole point system dedicated to, one, encouraging good use on the platform, but also making it fun and keeping people motivated, having something to compete for. We have some of our clients that will use this leaderboard, which is a more traditional first, second, third, fourth place option here to run incentive contests and give out prizes, which is certainly something that you could do, or you could reach out to your account manager. We help run those from time to time, we call it closers contest. You'll see that logo up there towards the top. That is, the technology running in the background here to make all of this happen. But it's a way to have fun with it. You can build up progress on your goals here as well. And these goals can be put in place by your manager. This is where you see your progress. I need to plan 5 calendar events a month, so I'm behind pace on this, of course, but I'm ahead of pace. I'm 40% of the way to hitting my goal there. And Outfield's letting me know, right? If I fall behind pace, like here, I haven't created any new deals for these accounts. It's going to let me know. It's going to be in red there. Obviously, you saw that confetti raining down on the rafters. But guys, it is 2:00 Central Time. We're kind of hit our hour. This is the first webinar that we've done, so we would love to hear some feedback, but I will leave you guys here. Feel free to throw in some additional questions as we're wrapping things up here, but I want to finish by talking a little bit around support, how you can get in contact with us. If you got to hop off, feel free to. We'll have this whole session recorded, but I'm going to stop my share briefly and share a different screen here for us. Just want to run through this so you know how to get in contact with us, as this is the web-based version. Everybody has access to the web-based version. You can sign in with the same credentials there, but you'll hit support here in the side menu. You'll have access to all of our spring training e-learning materials there. You'll have these set up for not only the performance system, the league play stuff, admin session, rep intro training, YouTube channel, of course, visual learners. I myself am a visual learner. I've learned basically everything off of YouTube after I graduated school. But we come through here. We have our support email address. We have our phone number listed there. If you give us a call, you'll probably get a real person, or you'll get our voicemail. We don't employ robots to answer the phones for us. We want to have a more human touch. That being said, If you call us, we might be busy. We might, be at lunch. Leave us a voicemail. We will call you right back as soon as we can, and make sure that your issue gets taken care of, or your question gets answered there. But I hope everybody that is still on the call has a wonderful rest of their day. We'll, hang out for a few more minutes, turn off the recording. But if anybody does have some extra questions, they want to hang out for a bit, feel free to throw those into the chat. But again, hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day, and be on the lookout for more invites to these things. We are going to be doing, I think we have a demo scheduled out for next week, if that's correct, Sam. And we're going to do a training the week after, kind of an alternating schedule back and forth there between demo and training over different topics of Outfield. But we want to spice it up. We want to get some feedback. So appreciate everybody's time, and we look forward to continuing these on and doing more of them. So I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Cheers.